What is up, everybody? It is your boy Dizek of the Dead. We are back with another video. So, I watched season one of The Walking Dead, Dead City. Uh, if you've seen my other videos, you would know how I feel about The Walking Dead at this point in time. And I kind of I don't like talking about The Walking Dead anymore because it's like pointless. It's like I feel like I'm the last person on earth who's still watching it. You know what I mean? I have this sunk cost. I'm still watching everything. And to be fair, I didn't see Dead City until 2 years after its release. I only watched the season. I binge watched the 6 episodes, basically in preparation for season two, which I have not had the time to start watching yet, but I will make reviews for. But if you see my reviews for Daryl Dixon, you would know that we are at a point of decay with the franchise of The Walking Dead where we thought that we'd be expanding to bigger horizons, doing more world building, more character development, but it just feels like we're running in circles here. And we're at the risk of just assassinating every character that we come across. Walking Dead, Dead City is no exception. So let's get right into it. There's going to be spoilers in this video. Let's get right to my dissatisfaction with this shit. Basically, the story is about Maggie on this new settlement. Who are these people in this new settlement? Why is she not at the Commonwealth? Who knows? Stop asking questions. So it takes place like 5 years after the end of the main show had concluded. And Herschel is like 15, 16 now. Herschel is like way older. And bear in mind, in the comic books, whenever Maggie takes over the Commonwealth, I think as their new mayor or president or whatever, Herschel becomes a little shit. Now, I that was one thing I didn't like about the finale of the comic books was that Herschel became this obnoxious, annoying nepo baby kind of thing, right? That took walkers and zombies and put them in cages as like zoos and circuses to show them off. Like, oh, they're not that dangerous. Look at them. And Carl, who's still alive in the comic books, saw that as insulting to the memory of his father, Rick, because he was putting the entire community in danger by fucking around with zombies in these cages. And so Herschel becoming this little shithead was something that I was hoping that the TV show people would avoid doing. Well, I guess I shouldn't have had my hopes so high because Herschel in the TV show is an annoying little shit. Not necessarily as bad as the comic books, but he still is like, I'm an angry teenager, woo. And they just make him unlikable when they really don't need to, right? They don't need to make Herschel unlikable. They could just make him likable and less a moody teen. Oh, but teens are always moody. But they don't have to be for this. We're talking about a zombie apocalypse fantasy here. Anyway, the point of the plot here is that Herschel gets kidnapped by a guy named the Croat. So the Croat's a former savior, one of Negan's old buddies, right? But he was banished by Negan because I guess he was too extreme for Negan. That was something I found kind of weird that we were trying to humanize the saviors. I mean, if you want to go back to season 6 of The Walking Dead, saviors did really nothing wrong. Sure, they were like the mob. They extorted all of the communities, but Rick and his group started the war. They were the ones who marched into the Savior compound and killed people in their sleep, which was horrible and borderline on character assassination. I would say go as far as it was character assassination. But basically, we're trying to humanize Negan and Simon, who makes a cameo appearance in the show, Dead City, that is, by saying that Negan wasn't nearly as bad as this Croat guy. And even Negan tries to kill the Croat, but the Croat survives. He's a Croat. He's called the Croat because he's Croatian. And so this Croat guy takes over Manhattan. He takes over the city and becomes basically Negan of that city. So the plot here is that the Croat wants to find Negan. He kidnaps Herschel from Maggie and tells Maggie to find Negan and bring Negan to him. Negan is now fathering this deaf girl or this mute girl because her parents died and she doesn't know how to talk anymore. So Negan is a surrogate father. Now you may be wondering, if you were finishing The Walking Dead's main show, why is it that Negan is now not with his family? Because if you remember, for those of you who actually watched the finale of The Walking Dead, Negan got a wife. He got her pregnant, this beautiful black woman, and got her pregnant and had a son. So now we're saying that Negan is an absentee father. But they explain that. They explain why he's not with his wife and son. It's because, well, his wife got attacked by these bandits or whatever, and he killed those bandits, and then he didn't want to be around her or his son because he felt like he was regressing into a bad version of himself again. Again, I don't know why we keep doing this to Negan. We don't need to keep having this regressive storytelling with Negan. Negan, honestly, in my opinion, should have died at the end of season 8. At the end of All Out War. That was the maximum, amount of, milk you could, milk out of this character, basically, right? And so I just don't get that. Now, to be fair, Jeffrey Dean Morgan has charisma out the wazoo. He is the best thing about this show. Just because Jeffrey Dean Morgan is such a great actor, it makes it at least a little bit more watchable because Negan has so much charisma and he's the only thing that's really keeping this whole franchise afloat. Just my opinion. But again, he was supposed to be Thanos. He was supposed to be the big bad. And keeping him around after his expiration date just kind of crumbles everything, And let's not even get into Maggie because she's basically a nothing burger now. She has no emotions. She's super unlikable. And this is nothing against the actress because she's working with what she's got. But we have seen the character assassination of Maggie now, right? To where she's reduced to a bounty hunter looking for Negan. And she's over here doing arm drags and all these body slams on these dudes that are far bigger than her, mind you. And so she and Negan have to team up to go and rescue Herschel while the Croat gets Negan. Why does the Croat want Negan? Well, apparently there's a bigger bad going on here. So the Croat is being hired by this mysterious woman, this mysterious girl boss in Manhattan who says, to start the New World Order, we need somebody with charisma. We need somebody who can be a leader. We need a president. So that leans into the whole President Negan thing at the very end of the finale of the show. So it leaves off where Negan joins up with this girl boss woman and the Croat so he can lead civilization to the next evolutionary stage of rebirth or whatever. While Herschel, the unlikable little shit, goes back to his mom and then complains to his mom that she's not a good mom. That is the best way I could describe this show. Most of the rest of it is filler. All the characters that are not Negan or Maggie, I don't give a fuck about. I don't care about any of them. This show it's just redundant now. It's just redundant slop, just like everything else on Disney Plus, just like everything else on Amazon Prime or Netflix. It feels so redundant. It doesn't feel like The Walking Dead is special anymore. And honestly, doesn't matter where I look. 2 years ago, this show was being talked about. But now that season 2 is out, I haven't heard a fucking peep. Haven't heard a single person talk about it. And most people just say the same thing that I'm saying. Yes, it's redundant. We didn't need this show. We didn't want this show. We didn't ask for this show. And they honestly had a better name that they could have sold it off of it when they first promoted it, which was Isle of the Dead. That is a far better name than Dead City. Now, I will say there are some things that I do like. The Croat is an interesting new character. The way he uses zombies and The Walking Dead to, he herds them into the sewers of underground subterranean areas of New York to basically grind them up and turn them into he was like a nuclear physicist or something, right? He was an engineer, excuse me. And he would grind up the walkers and burn them in acid to make them into fossil fuels to power the city, to give their city electricity, which I thought was an interesting thing to do. I thought that was an interesting. I have no idea if the science would actually work or if that's even accurate at all, but I like the idea of the concept of it. I like the idea of there being a New York in the Walking Dead universe where we see New York as a city, right? Where we see the Walking Dead city, right? I like Negan. It's always good to see Lauren Cohan as Maggie, but she's just giving nothing to work with here. And it just feels like she's putting in a lackluster performance. But Jeffrey Dean Morgan just steals the show and damn near he chews up every scene that he's in spite of the fact that he's had his balls cut off and humiliated by damn near everybody around him. And so I don't really have particularly any excitement for this show going forward, but I'm this far in. I'm eye level deep in the Walking Dead universe, so I might as well get through it. There's going to be a time where I do stop and just not care anymore, but right now is not that time. I feel like this is the perfect sort of thing that I should be talking about on my channel. I got to be the last person, or at least one of the last people still watching, that is documenting the failure of the once great Walking Dead franchise. So let me know what y'all think in the comments down below. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and I will see y'all in another video very soon. Let me know what you think about this show. If you have seen it, if you haven't seen it. And yeah, I will see y'all in a video very soon. Don't smoke crack or you'll turn into a zombie.